Sweet face, baby.
Yeah, this thing called life doesn't come with a manual. It doesn't come with a way to go. The instructions not included. Stay tuned, any topics we discuss where you can use it. Yeah, this thing called life doesn't come with a way to go. It doesn't come with a manual. Yeah, you can search, I swear it ain't nothing like Jay-Z, the blueprint. Ooh, now let me make one.
Instructions not included, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ooh, Virtual Friday. All right.
hey.
What's up?
Y'all, welcome back to Instructions Not Included. I'm your girl, Aisha.
And I'm Claude. I'm here. I'm
Yeah, I
chilling.
got my co-host, my husband,
Partner in crime. Partner in dimes.
partner in parenting.
Partner in parenting.
Yes, we're
That's
here
us.
today to talk about something that's very dear to us, which is breastfeeding versus bottle feeding. And just curious, to ask our people out there, how do you know what to make the best decision for you, your baby, and your family? Right. So we're here to kind of help guide you through those things.
Yeah, and offer some of our personal experiences, just helping parents make the best choice for their family. That's the main thing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So
Mm, mm. Let me just start off by saying thank you, baby, for the coffee.
you're welcome.
It's delicious. I haven't been drinking a lot of coffee lately.
Me either. Me either.
And speaking of coffee, if you're a coffee drinker, right, and you breastfeed,
Hmm.
does your baby get like that coffee?
Caffeine. Yes. Your baby gets everything you take into your body. Your baby gets. Some
What?
people say you pump and dump for 24 hours. Like if you drink alcohol, you're supposed to pump and dump. But anyway.
Just thought I'd ask because I didn't used
On the
to really
coffee.
drink coffee. You know what I'm saying, like that, and I don't think my mom was a coffee. I don't know.
Well, I
Mm.
mean, pregnant women can have coffee. I think they're allowed like 8 ounces a day, which is cool. So yeah, I
Okay,
mean, yeah. So
so there you go for the coffee drinkers. You know what I'm saying?
cheers.
There you go. Um, enough about coffee, right?
Yeah.
let's let's get back to the subject here. So, I don't know. Tell us, let's talk to our audience.
All right. So today we're going to talk about our story. With our first daughter, I decided to bottle feed her. It worked out well for me. Not only gave me the flexibility I needed as a new mom because I was just learning my way, but it really helped me um, make sure that she had everything, all the nutrition that she needs. But Claude, even though she's not your biological daughter, but she's been in your life since she was 3,
Hmm, hmm.
how do you feel about stepping into parenting, the parenting role, and eventually feeding the second and third baby, helping me out with all of the responsibilities of feeding? How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, ultimately, like I said from the jump, it's your body. It's your body, it's your choice. And I just felt whether you was sharing Papa's pillows or prepping the bottles to wee hours in the morning, I really was just. I mean, I was with it. I just wanted to make sure that our kids were fed.
Yeah.
That they were healthy, they were eating. I was a little uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, being a man, I guess, especially I was young, I was a little uncomfortable with the whole breastfeeding thing in the
And why was
beginning.
that?
I know it's natural and all, but just to have you whipping out your breast in
I
public and stuff.
never did that.
I know you didn't. I know, but it was the thought. It was just the thought, as a young man, like, my baby showing her goods and everything, and so I was a little insecure as a young man. But look, I felt like no matter what, whether you were supplying breast milk or whether it was formula, me personally, I enjoyed the feeding process. I mean, I
Yeah.
would do the skin to skin with my girls, uh, especially on those hot summer Louisiana days, because it was super hot during the times when they were born and little. So I enjoyed that part. I really enjoyed just staring into my baby's eyes while they just their little hands just gripping onto your finger or whatever.
Yeah, you spending
And
some quality time with them.
yeah, yeah. So I really enjoyed it, from the burping, the constant burping, the spit
Spit ups.
ups, all of that. Um yeah, I know it's kind of weird, but I really enjoyed that part. I enjoyed just seeing them that size, just being my little babies and everything. And it happens so fast how quick they grow. So I would just say embrace it, dads,
Hmm.
and moms, but especially the dads. You get a chance to you know whether it's just feeding or just holding your baby, embrace that time. um I did feel like by the time we had our youngest daughter, I was a bottle prepping pro.
For sure.
um
For
I
sure.
I
And
made it.
cleaning pro. Like
Yeah,
you
yes
was on
indeed.
it.
I made it my duty to sterilize the bottles, to prep the formula. I mean, I knew how much, whether it was water to put into the formula, how much
Right.
powder, made sure that, if we were going somewhere, that we had enough bottles prepped in a bag, whether it's nighttime, we had enough in the refrigerator or
Hmm.
whatever,
Yeah.
bottles sanitized and all of that. I really I took pride in that.
And I thank
So
you for that because it took a load off of me,
yeah, that was the idea, just to
for
lighten the
sure.
load. So I definitely thought how we did that was teamwork, right?
Yeah, it definitely was a team effort. And feeding my second daughter, I breastfed her for about 3 months until my milk stopped. And I remember feeling all types of emotions, being guilty. Oh, I'm not giving her enough milk. What if she's not getting enough nutrition? Excuse me. Um, but I had to understand my body was telling me, okay, you've done your part. You gave her the best, beginning of the milk, the all the antibodies in the beginning, through the meconium. So, okay,
I remember you beating yourself up
yeah,
about that,
it
by
was
the way.
tough because we were so bonded. She and I, our second daughter, we were like click tight, and then I had to like break away from it. So, it definitely was an experience that I had to come to terms with,
Mhm.
and be okay with. And then our
But wait,
third.
wait, before we go to our third, so with our first daughter, so
Mhm,
with our oldest,
mhm.
I know you were young at the time, you were very busy, you were in college, but what was like one of the main kind of, I guess, reasons why you chose to just bottle feed versus breast?
It wasn't a great story.
Okay, okay.
So what happened was at the hospital, I had put breastfed on all of the documents that she was going to be a breastfed baby. And I was in labor about 17 hours with her. So after laboring, they get her off. She was completely healthy. She's fine, but they took her to the nursery and some amazing nurse gave her a bottle
Oh,
after being labeled breastfed on all of the tickets that she can have, like on her band, on her bed with her name. She was a breastfed, and somebody gave her a bottle.
and so from that point on, you just chose to
Well, she came
not
back to
switch it
me
up,
a couple of hours later and they was like, "Oh, she took the bottle." I'm like, "She's not supposed to have a bottle. She's breastfed."
and you being a new mom,
And a
that
new
was just
mom, I was devastated.
challenging.
So she wouldn't latch. And we tried everything. We brought the lactation specialist in. We worked for hours and hours with her. She just didn't, she was not interested.
Mm,
so so imagine the rejection that I felt
mhm.
as a mother of 20, at 23 years old. So it was just like, she doesn't want me, so
Ah,
and then having a second daughter, my breast drying up, well, not drying up, but not producing enough milk for her. I felt like, oh. So the third one, I had some um personal surgeries that I had, some a reduction, and they advised against having the against breastfeeding because it could reverse my surgery. So I think we
straight
talked
bottle
about it.
fed,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we talked about it, and I felt guilty with her not breastfeeding. And Claude was like, if you want to breastfeed a breastfeeder, if you don't, you don't. You know what I'm saying? And so ultimately, we decided to bottle feed her, and that's when Claude kicked in and did all of the due diligence with that, and took care of all the sterilization of the bottles because we did, different things in the beginning. We're gonna go into that, but yeah. So that's what it was with us.
So our journey, I mean, I know it wasn't perfect, right?
No,
We
no.
had some ups and downs.
Yeah, we did. We have the most important thing is to stay flexible, and focus on what works for you and your family. Yeah.
So just to kind of go over, what we just talked about. I mean, I know it's still fresh, but just a couple key points. I think the main thing to get out of what we just said is, for one, um, you you have to be flexible, right?
Mhm.
That's the main thing. That your baby does get fed, whether you are breastfeeding, whether it's big surprise, like how the story was for, the baby being bottle fed in the beginning.
Yeah, it's
Um,
horrible.
and then not really wanting to latch. And everybody, I'm pretty sure, is gonna have different stories, different outcomes, and different it's up to you to make that choice. And that was one of the main things it was for me, was this is your body.
Mhm.
This is your choice. I Me being a new dad, I wasn't sure what the benefits were. All I knew that um I really hate to hear when a baby is crying because they're hungry.
Right.
And usually that's what I would think, like, oh, my baby's hungry. I know what it feels like not to eat. All right.
Mm.
I I know what it feels like to be hungry. And and to see my baby, that's one thing I did not want for my baby to ever feel like, um, or for me to think that, okay, this is the issue. So that was one of the first things you go to when they
Yeah,
cry,
that's
like
your
either
thought process,
hungry,
yeah. Or
their
something's
stomach
wrong.
hurt or
Yes.
something's wrong. So, um, like I said, that was part of it. And
Yes. I think the main important thing of the tips that we gave is to know that the feeding process is precious. So cherish those moments. Parenting and feeding, it needs to be a team effort, right? If you have a team, y'all try to lean on each other, help each other out. Every baby in the family is different.
mhm,
Not
facts.
one three of my babies were the same. They're very different, and flexibility is definitely the key. So remember to keep that in mind and don't be hard on yourself, okay?
So let's talk about,
Lighten up.
yeah. And it flies by, believe it or not. It seems
Enjoy
like it
it.
takes an eternity in the beginning, but I mean, before you know it, they're feeding themselves or they're eating some solids. So it does fly by. But let's talk about the benefits of breastfeeding.
Oh, I love
Um,
it.
so babe, what do you think the I guess the biggest benefits of breastfeeding were for you? Or
Um,
just breastfeeding in general?
I think the biggest breastfeeding tip is that milk is packed with nutrition and antibodies that will help build the baby's immune system. It's convenient. There's no need to prep bottles or worry about the temperature because it's going to come out the perfect temperature
Every time.
every time. There's really nothing special about um there's really something special about the bonding experience that happens when you breastfeed between you and your little one. It's quite, I don't know. It's
I guess it's
I
because it's already skin to skin. It's
I
already
can't, you
that
can't even put
connection.
it into words. It's such a bond. It's way different than anything else. It's a different bond when you're bottle feeding versus them being latched to your breast. I think it's because what you can feel as well as a mom. But yeah,
No doubt. And for me, I mean, I hate to say, I look, I'm not a penny pincher, but I have to admit,
yeah,
breastfeeding does save some money,
for
okay?
sure.
Because formula, look, it can cost. All
Yeah.
right. It's not always that easy to come by getting the right formula and all. But even the breastfeeding process for the moms that's struggling, that look, don't hesitate to reach out to a lactation consultant or some type of support group if you're struggling with the breastfeeding, like Aisha said. um you know Finding someone who may have gone through what you're going through could kind of take some pressure off of you. But I want you to know, if you have that partner, that supportive partner, then that's great. But if you don't, regardless, I want you to know it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Being flexible, like we talked about in the beginning, is very important. But just know that bond that you're creating with your baby by breastfeeding, I mean, it's amazing. And as far as the dads, I'm not ever saying that look, we can't breastfeed, but that bond of skin to skin, you can look it up. Look, that's very important. Just being able to have your baby that close to you while
Mhm.
you give them a bottle, you know. So I do think that one of the things, like I said before, is you can save some money, y'all.
Right. That's true. That is
And
so
it is the
true.
right temperature, like Aisha said, because when you're doing the formula, you got to check that temperature. You got to know how to do that,
Yeah, for sure.
okay? Because you don't want to burn your baby's mouth. All right.
Sorry, y'all. That's all true. But I can't say that breastfeeding doesn't come with challenges, right? A lot of moms know that not only emotional challenges, but physical challenges. And there's something called mastitis that you can get from breastfeeding. Is when you get an infection in the glands of the breast, and it normally gets really hard and painful and inflamed. Sometimes if you don't express the milk out quickly enough, then, you have to go on antibiotics and things like that. So definitely if that happens, reach out to your physician, talk to them. But it's important to know that the challenge like this can happen and it's okay to ask for help, even to transition over to formula for a short period of time while this is happening. It's okay. They have a lot of bottles out there too that are um the nipples are very breast-like, so that helps as well.
I'm glad you brought that up. It's so important for moms to know that they're not alone. Like I said, if they face those challenges, what was it called? Mastitis?
Mastitis.
Mastitis.
Mhm.
Or if you just have like a low milk supply,
Which I had, yeah.
look, there's no shame in doing what's best for you, your health, and your baby's health.
That's
Okay.
right. Breastfeeding can be beautiful, but it's not always easy, and that's okay. Moms, give yourself a chance and some grace. You're doing amazing,
Right.
right?
You are.
Yeah.
So, hey, you're a mom. Congrats. You're here. You're breastfeeding. You're bottle feeding. You're making that choice, whatever's best for you. Um, so don't beat yourself up too much.
Yeah. Some of the
Okay.
key points we went over just now is knowing that breast milk provides nutrients and antibiotics to boost your baby's immune system. It promotes bonding for mom and baby. And it also presents some challenges like mastitis, painful breast inflammation,
Mhm.
and can be difficult to continue on.
And also the convenience of, no bottle prep, no warming, stuff like that. So like we said before, you could just whip it out, pop it in the baby's mouth. Well, that's how I kind of visioned it. Maybe this just because I don't, well, hey,
I
it's
cannot.
it's the man being the man, I guess, just, hey, here's some food. Bow, so,
I can't.
so I mean, those are
This
some
is
key
what I
points.
do.
And the other thing is, like I said, you can save some money. You don't need to buy the formula. You can consult with lactation consult have some lactation consultants and support groups. There are great resources if you are struggling. So just keep that in mind. Um, it's important once again to give yourself some grace, like Aisha said. Prioritize your health
Yes.
and your baby's need. That is the most
Most
important.
important. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, now let's talk about some formula feeding.
the benefits of it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So Claude, what are the biggest advantages of formula feeding?
Um, I think flexibility is one.
Yeah.
Um,
Convenience is another. Yeah.
Formula feeding does allow both parents to share feeding responsibilities,
Yeah.
which um, when moms need a break or just say they're returning to work, you know, you as the dad, that's the flexibility part. That's like, okay, boom, I'm stepping in. Look, I got all of these bottles ready. I'm ready.
Hmm.
We ready to go. So it's not just, hey, pump this, and let me squeeze this out, pump this, and prep these bottles through breast, because you can prepare some bottles, from pumping the breast, right?
Correct.
Um, So
For sure.
it's just the part with the formula as far as the dads, it's like, hey, you can rest. You know what I'm saying? I got this. I know how to measure this up. I know how to shake this up. I know how to warm this up, test it. So, like I said, I became a bottle prepping pro. I feel like, you know what I'm saying? I'm doing something. You know what I'm saying? Kind of makes you feel valuable in a sense. It's my
Yeah,
baby. You
yeah.
feel me?
That's exactly one of the advantages for formula feeding is that you can track exactly how much your baby's getting. And for some new parents, that's peace of mind that they don't have to worry about, well, did my baby eat enough today? So if you put 2 ounces in and they do an ounce and a half of formula in the very beginning, then you're like, okay, well, that's good. And you can tell, relay that information to your physician if anything happens, or just to give them the basic information on how your baby's doing. So, yeah, I
I
think that
like
really
that.
helps.
Yeah. Yeah, just so like she said, basically being able to say how much you're giving. Because you can't really, I guess, gauge it if you breastfeeding. It's just like you what?
No,
They
you can
just
you can look at it too,
but not by ounces though, right?
if it's in the bottle.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, out
So
of the
you got
rush, you
the
don't know. You just
right.
let them go until they like.
And Maya came out. I mean, she was a big baby.
Yeah.
And
That's our
she liked
second
to eat.
daughter. Yeah, she was 8 pounds 8 ounces. When she came out. So
So with formula, you could be like, look, you already had about a good 10 ounces. It is no more. She more. You know.
but I think I gave her, like, I would breastfeed her. And remember, I would go back and
We
forth
had
on
to,
both
yeah.
breasts because I had a low breast output, right? Breast milk output. So yeah, it just eventually we had to give her a bottle, honey, because she was like, "This is not working for me."
Mhm.
This is
And within that, of course, like there's different types of formula, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing, and a very good advantage to this is because you have your basic milk, you have your hyperallergenic milks that helps baby with sensitivity of the stomach, lactose free milks. So you have a lot of milks that can be kind of custom to your baby, and I think that always works well because some babies' stomach, they can't tolerate certain milks, so.
Is I think she had colic too. That's one of the
They
things,
all had
right? They all
colic.
had, yeah. Hey, we got because I know my executive producer is working hard at keeping this going. So we just want to make sure if there's any comments or anything that they are popping up on the screen. And because my executive producer, she loves to do multitask. I just know she's paying
Ooh,
attention
she
to
said, "I got
us
this."
and not TikTok or whatever's on her phone, car buying or whatever she's doing because that all can wait after this show. Um,
Leave my baby alone.
I'm just making sure
She got this.
we because
Women, we
our
can
co-producer
multitask.
who was here waited until after the end of the show and was like, "Look at all these comments."
She did.
I was like, "Yeah, well, you gotta kind of put those up while
She
we
was like, "I
talking."
didn't
So
know."
I just wanted to make sure.
She didn't know.
I know,
She's
but our
That's my
executive
baby.
producer is on it, right?
Yeah.
She is
Yeah.
on it. I
Yeah,
just,
they all had colic though, babe. Believe
all of
that.
them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. But there's ways to prevent that, and there's certain bottles you can get nowadays. So we can do um we use Dr. Brown's. We also use Playtex that you do the drop-in liners and you push all the air out of. Those really helped.
But that was like some of the challenges of bottle feeding,
Yeah, that's
for
challenge. I'm
sure.
sorry.
No, but that's definitely,
Yeah,
important to talk about. Some of the challenges, for example, like your baby doesn't take in too much, or they take in, too much air during the
Mhm.
feeding. You know, certain things that you could do to try to help um
Reduce the air intake.
reduce that,
Mhm.
something to lim- yeah, like reduce the air or eliminate the fact of, them any stomach discomfort or like I said, colic or
And
anything like
burping and
that,
things like
burping.
that frequently.
Um, and I also like, you know, throughout the feeding process, of course, you want to burp them,
Mhm.
not just wait and give them the whole bottle.
He
But
loved to burp them too, yeah.
yeah, yeah, I was sitting right here on my lap and just kind of, you know, have the burp cloth just kind of over them a little bit, making sure they don't projectile all over me. But and burp them either there or on me and burp them. But most of the time it was just because I was able to hold them in my hands and just give them a, quick little couple taps on the back and then adjust them again,
Oh.
feed them 45-degree angle. Trust me, man, that thing can feed the babies, man. Man, shoot.
He's a pro
I am
and
I
super
miss
excited
those
about
days
it.
though. You know what I'm saying? So
That's what grandkids are
I
for.
already know what's gonna happen, when them grandkids start popping. Here you go, dad. You want to feed a baby? Boom, here. Here's another one.
More
Yeah,
grandbabies, you
yeah,
mean?
more.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's no rush.
No
No
rush.
rush. Slow down.
All right. So some of the key points that we made today about the formula feeding is that it's easy to track. There's different types of milk that you can use, hyperallergenic, sensitive to their tummies,
Mhm.
and proper bottle feeding techniques to reduce air intake, which is can lead to colic.
Mm.
Yeah,
Um, as y'all see, I keep adjusting these headphones, right? This little earpiece right
I
here,
think it's
I
on the wrong
like it.
side, huh?
Um, so not to mess up the flow of things. No, it's supposed to be on the right side. Oh, no. Anyway, the other one fits fine. I think one of my ears is bigger than like
I
a
keep
speaker.
coughing. Excuse me.
But this is what y'all get on these live
Yeah,
shows.
that's live, baby.
It's live. So I don't know if I have it upside down, if it's supposed to wrap around this ear right here. But it's always this right um earpiece. If y'all see me adjusting it, that's just me trying to
It looked like
keep
it
it
don't.
in.
It looked like it's supposed to
If
be
it
on
looked
the
like I
other
got
ear.
two left. This is the one that's red. Looks like I got two left ear pieces or
Yeah,
something.
because it looked like it wants to go back the other way.
It does, but the other one fits fine.
Mm.
So let me see. Let me switch it up. I'm gonna switch it up, y'all. Because it doesn't have an L or R on it, right? I do know my left from my right if it was labeled. If it was labeled, right? Um, hold up your right hand. That was my left, y'all. I'm just playing. That was my left.
It was my lip too.
Hold up your right hand and repeat after me. Nah, so my
Anyway,
bad.
but give me your points
That's the
that we
thing
just
about
made
being live. You know what I'm saying? Formula feeding is flexible,
for sure.
so it allows both parents to share the responsibilities. Dads and caregivers can both bond with the baby during feeding. Be mindful, of course, like I said before, as far as air intake and extra work of washing and sanitizing the bottles. We
Yeah,
able to share that responsibility. I think we did well with that.
yeah.
Sometimes I would be washing the bottles, you prepping the bottles, or you prepping the bottles, I washing the bottles, or me doing both and you resting. You know what I'm saying?
With
Uh,
that third one, yeah, for sure.
but yeah, I mean, either way, I
But
enjoyed it.
yeah, I think we need to
What
go
is
into
it?
detail about the second and the third pregnancy
Okay,
after
okay.
after they were born. Like
Well,
another show. Go
another
ahead.
show. Yeah, 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 yeah. So this is let's talk about
Seamless.
making the right choices for
Yeah.
your family. So how do you decide what's best for your family? Babe, what's your advice for the parents who are feeling overwhelmed by this decision?
My advice is to focus on what works for you and your baby and your family. If breastfeeding is going to be okay and work out well, enjoy it. It's that wonderful.
Mhm.
If formula feeding makes it easier, more sensible for you, your lifestyle, your family, then that's okay too.
Look, don't be afraid to try different options. Some families start with breastfeeding and transition to formula like we did, while others do both. And they do it from the beginning, just this is what they're gonna do.
Hmm.
So there's no right or wrong way. Try what works for you and what's best for your family.
If you need more help, you can also talk to your pediatrician or lactation professional. They can provide guidance based on your baby's health and nutritional needs. And remember, decisions may change over time, and that's completely normal. It's okay for you to change your mind.
And as always, our disclaimer, we're not doctors or,
Correct.
we're not here to give you any legal or medical advice. We're just parents. And like the show said, instructions are not included. So we are just here to provide some of the instructions from our personal experiences.
Correct.
And that's it. But at the end of the day, the most important thing that to make sure that your baby is fed,
Yes.
loved, healthy. I mean, that's what really matters.
That's all that matters. That is all that matters. Some of the key points you want to focus on what works best for you and your baby and your family. It's okay to transition between breastfeeding and formula feeding. Consult your pediatrician for guidance or a
Mhm.
lactation specialist.
And there's no right or wrong way. Every family is different. So try different options to find out what works best for you. What is my she must have been she
She's
must
tripping.
have been doing homework over there for her class or something because
Why's
it
that?
looks like my baby is bouncing around on the screen up there. Can
Okay.
we get her back over in the center? And then can we lock that one? Uh, yeah, boom, boom, boom. Add some music to it. Come bring it down some.
Look,
Yeah,
in the
because
clip, make sure you like add music.
you gotta can zoom into her a little bit because I think that's what's going on. Oh, no,
No, no,
there we
no,
go.
there we go.
Yeah. All
Okay.
right. And then if you want to bring her up just a tad bit, we can even this out, or I'm sorry, down, or bring me down. Okay,
I
cool,
think
cool,
that's
cool.
about
Good
right.
job, good job.
Yeah.
That's close enough.
All right. We're going to
So
continue on. Before we wrap up, we want to hear from you and what worked for you and your family when it comes to feeding. Please share your experiences with us in the comments or on our social media pages.
and don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification button so you'll
Ding.
never miss an episode. Look, you can also check us out on YouTube at Sweet Face Scans and I Podcast.
Thanks for joining us. And
Yes.
remember, there's no right or wrong way to feed your baby. Just the way that works for you and your family, and of course the baby. We'll see you next week for our next episode of Instructions Not Included, which is managing postpartum emotion and mental health.
Hey, y'all, take care. Until next time, keep doing your best. That's all your baby needs. We out.
We out. And
Sweet Face, baby.
Yeah, this thing called life doesn't come with a manual. It doesn't come with a way to go. Yeah, instructions not included. Stay tuned in these topics we discuss where you can use it. Yeah, this thing called life doesn't come with a way to go. It doesn't come with a manual. Yeah, you can search, I swear it ain't nothing like Jay-Z, the blueprint. Ooh, now let me make one.
Instructions not included, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Full Circle Friday.